Hey nerds! Welcome back to The Letter. In last episode, Marianne ran into Ash and actually gave him some information. It wasn't like really anything, but I have a feeling it's gonna lead towards more because she backed up Isabella, and so Ash is gonna go back, but we won't really understand what Ash is doing until we get to his backstory, or not backstory, but to like his point of view and stuff like that. So let's just continue on with Mariana and see what happens. October 28th. Because honestly, I've been feeling like this.
You have certainly exceeded expectations, Marianne. Everything looks so marvelous, and in such a short time, too.
What? Here we go. Do people ever... No. Stop. 3, 2, 1. Do people ever have the feeling that they're working on something that they really enjoy, but it eventually tires them out? Because honestly, I've been feeling like this.
You have certainly exceeded expectations, Marianne. Everything looks so marvelous, and in such a short time, too.
Though moments like these make all the hard and work worth it. Definitely.
Well, I can't take all of the credit. People have certainly been enthusiastic about the idea of working on the Wright mansion. There won't be any more problems unless Mr. Wright has any more objections about the second bedroom.
Oh, no. We proceed with that room as planned. I already agreed to him having his greenhouse and his vineyard and his stables. He may as well let me have this one thing.
We're only about halfway done, but the honest satisfaction on a client's face is enough for me to push through. Let's face it, in between my exasperation at Mr. Wright's antics and her, I've been burning the candles at both ends. I can't even close my eyes without seeing a dead girl's face. Dead girl. Dead. She's dead, and I have to keep reminding myself that, burying my feelings as deep as they've buried my body, 6 feet under. I shouldn't waste so much time on someone who's supposed to be gone. I've wasted so many years thinking about her already. There should be no need to bother myself with the dead. Why I should be bothering myself with the living. Too bad the living are eventually as complicated, if not more, than ghosts of the past.
But don't you have a party?
Yes. But Luke's just being a sweetie, you see. That friend he's visiting. He's having marital problems, and he's just trying to cheer him up.
It's even more complicated when the living quarters is in question is a pair of rich, famous socialists way past their honeymoon phase. And I've been somewhere roped in to being the relationship counselor.
They've been married for a long time, and they've hit a... how do they say it? A rough patch. His wife has a drinking problem and can be very neglectful. The poor thing really does his best to be a good husband. But it's never enough for her. Sometimes I think it's the years. Maybe it's been so long that they've lost that romantic spark. What do you think?
If I'm going to be completely honest, I need to ask. This is about you and Mr. Wright, isn't it?
Suppose it is. What would you tell me?
Then, I tell you it's none of my business. I tell you that I don't want to meddle. But if the troubled husband with the neglectful wife asked me for my honest opinion, I'd say that he shouldn't base his happiness and his self-worth on someone else. Maybe he should try being independent for a while. See what it's like when he isn't trying to please someone else and doing things for himself. Everyone's supposed to be their own man or woman, right? A bit of breathing room never hurt anyone. We shouldn't let our fear control our lives.
Why she thinks a single woman like me would be the best source of relationship advice is beyond me. Still, I talk and answer to the best of my abilities. Without realizing it, I'm already pouring out part of me that I had thought were long gone. I like to believe my words will help to Mrs. Wright. If I'm honest though, they are of some help to me, like some weight has been lifted off my shoulders. Lorraine.
I really should handle what's left of the work.
You won't be attending the party? Oh, you really must, Marianne.
The weight of what's happened to her hasn't left me yet, did it? Maybe.
I'll try to stay in chat. Maybe grab a few bites and a drink, but I can't be around for the entirety of the event. My apologies. Busy, busy, busy.
You must stay a while. I'd love for you to meet some of my friends, and they're ever so excited to meet you.
Maybe we will get to see a different part of the ball tonight. Maybe she'll go. I like that. I mean, I guess I like that it's a recap of what happened, but at the same time, they didn't do this with any of the other characters, and I kind of really don't want to be replaying this part, but it's okay.
You need to say hello to the Lees, at least. If it wasn't for them, I'd never even heard of you.
Maybe it's about time I change that.
We'll see. So, if Foy can be excused?
Certainly. You'll have to excuse me as well. I must attend to the party before any early birds arrive. Because, believe me, they will throw a fuss if things aren't ready, even when they're not supposed to be here until an hour later.
If somebody showed up an hour early to a party that I planned, man, I would be so pissed. No, I shouldn't dwell on the dead. I shouldn't just callously forget about them too. Saying that I have work left to do is an easy enough excuse to make. I know how other people see me. They see someone so obsessed with their craft that she would be so easily miss things like a party for it. Outside the parlor, people hurry about here and there in preparation of the Wright's grand housewarming party. None spare me a glance as I slip past them, each working on their appointed roles and not daring to slack off while they work for what is properly the most powerful couple in Luxborn. I make it into the kitchen with ease, with the wine cellar being my final destination. Oh, there's a reason she doesn't make it to the party, where I feel like something's gonna happen here. But when is a great task ever simple? Probably never. And this is a great task, isn't it? My greatest one yet is worth of being called a quest. I'm not acting on Marianne McCullough's The Professional Interior Design when I chose to lie about being too busy for a party. I'm not Marianne McCullough, a lawful, neutral cleric with 9 points in wisdom and 8 in charisma. But just thinking of it like that makes it a bit cheesy. But it helps with the fear. It helps overcome the insane thought that I'm actively seeking out something that has been plaguing me for years. I might face my worst nightmare, or I might see nothing and find myself imagined grand quest fall flat. And who would have thought that the gatekeeper to my final quest would be someone I thought would be a valuable ally?
Schnell! Hurry up, you snails! We are on a deadline and you are wasting my time!
The butler comes from a cellar and into the kitchen, tailed by a couple of other people. People who I assume are most likely chiefs and bartenders. He raises a brow, seeing me just standing there by the hatch, by the trapdoor. It almost looks like he's going to throw me out of being in the kitchen without permission. But then he motions for the others to disappear and familiarize themselves with their surroundings. Meanwhile, he continues to stand there, preventing entry into the darkness beyond.
What are you doing here, Fraulein? This is not the place for guests or in an architect right now. I request you leave.
I was just looking around for any last-minute things, yes?
Yes, you have been doing that a lot. Looking around, snooping about.
Fuck off, butler.
Now is not the time for such things. If you're not careful, people might think you are up to something.
The look he gives me as he says this is almost chilling. If life was a game, he'd probably be the true neutral warlock guarding the treasure room. A difficult opponent to beat with 9 lives and wisdom and 8 in dexterity.
Well, I'm not done yet. I actually need to go into the wine cellar. Just need a quick go at the place. So, just don't mind me. I'll be out of your hair soon enough.
Can you not sound like any, less suspicious?
Go outside, enjoy the party. Bask in the praise and adulation they will no doubt shower you with when the madam speaks highly of you. Surely you've had enough of this stuffy old kitchen by now. You do not want to cause trouble. Both the Bratwurst and Hannah want this to be perfect. It would be a disservice and disrespect to toe out of line and risk it being anything otherwise.
What? Her going into the wine cellar is gonna completely fuck all your shit up? Shut up and move!
And more importantly, I will be blamed for any failure that happens tonight.
His intervention almost turns me away. Maybe this is a sign I'm not meant to look for Lorraine out. But
Please. It's really important.
15 minutes. 9, 10 minutes. Any longer and I'll pull you out of there myself. The Bratwurst will be furious if he thinks anyone is touching his precious wine without his permission.
Thank you. This seriously means a lot.
He steps aside begrudingly. At this point, it looks like there's no turning back. The cellar greets me anonymously as I descend. The space feels smaller, with a lot more bottles lining the wall compared to before, and knowing what might be awaiting for me here makes things worse. The mirror that had been moved from the study is my goal. I did not return to it at my intentional discovery, but the thought of Lorraine, how much I want to see her again, even if it's just for one more time, keeps coming back in my mind. As I walk through the cellar, I have to stop when I feel something crunch beneath my feet. Whatever few bottles were left behind here are now nothing but glass under my heels. Perhaps dropped by one of the many chefs and bartenders and butlers that I escorted through here before. And it made a downright mess, with the red slick pooling from the remnant of a good drink. With how dark this place is, a person with a dark enough imagination can easily mistake it for blood. I can't help but think it is, despite the easy logical explanation that had come to mind, only because of what I'm about to do. I'm merely momentarily distraction as I continue to the end of the cellar where the mirror stands. Propped up on the far wall, I gleaming innocently while pretending to be simple and ordinary mirror. How morbid to think that things can show a person's their deepest, most desperate desires, then twisted into an image so dark. That's what I had seen that day. Though I heard Lorraine many times, I had only seen her within its frame. I wonder if people have discovered it before. How many were wasted away in front of it? Enamored and more, and how many were frightened away by what they saw? Yet as I stand before it now, nothing. I can barely see my own reflection in the darkness.
How does this even work? Mirror, mirror on the wall? Something? Anything?
Nothing. Touching its surface doesn't make it magically active or anything like that. There's no sudden surge of power, and I'm not suddenly granted sight. It stays what it is, a mirror. Was Lorraine's appearance in the mirror all some sort of fever dream? Am I really the burden of a guilt and despair that my mind would eat itself in stress and have me hallucinate such things? Pause. Oh my god. Aina! What are you doing? Okay, you're back. All right. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Either way, just going here on some crazy obsession for a girl long gone must warrant me to a trip to a doctor. Already I feel ill. After a few minutes later, in hopes that something would change, I turn around to leave. I could just go back upstairs like nothing happened. Perhaps drop by the party for some hors d'oeuvres, then go home and collect myself. Besides, Miss Wright is expecting me and I'm
Going to leave me again then, are you?
I stop in my tracks, but I don't turn back. As much as it pains me, I don't look back. If I'm just hearing her again, despite delusional, and I looked back to see nothing, I don't want to give myself false hope. But when I feel fingers around my wrist pull at me, I look back in shock. My first thought is, how in God's name is this possible? And the second is Lorraine. Her hands are cold.
Are you that mad at me that you're just going to ignore me, Marianne?
I don't know what to say, and I can only stare at her in wonder. She stands there in the mirror, with only her arm extended outward for my sake. I look at the hand still holding my wrist, and when she sees me looking at it, she moves it so that our hands are intertwined, fingers weave together. Oh. Seeing her there and feeling her touch meant I'm not crazy, though however impossible and unexplained, this is all to me right now. It just takes my breath away. Pulling her out there is tempting. I can imagine doing so with ease. We can be together again, Lorraine and Marianne, like nothing had ever happened. But that would be a great big lie, wouldn't it?
What? Cat got your tongue? Don't just look at me like that. Say something.
Even if this thing were magic portal that could bring me back to the dead, that doesn't erase anything. Just looking at her, still a young teenager while I'm already a grown woman, it serves no other reason than to break the illusion that blinds me. I've seen her twice now. Always behind the mirror. If this is real, if this isn't some delusion, then why could she only exist behind the glass?
Yeah. You have no idea how happy I am to see you. It's been so long.
You don't look happy.
I really am happy. But at the same time, I can't help but think about what happened. To you.
And what does that mean? What are you saying?
She gives me a particular look. And before my eyes, she moves to step out of the mirror. In turn, I reach my hand for her and take a step back, almost as if I'm afraid.
I don't know how this is possible. But whatever this is, it isn't real. You can't be real.
I'm right here, aren't I? What other proof do you need?
No. I see you. I hear you. I feel you. But even with all that, you can't be real. You just can't. I saw your body. I helped bury you. You're dead.
A deep hurt crosses her face, and it just breaks my heart into two, seeing her wear that expression.
Burying me wasn't the only thing you did. Don't you dare lie. But I'm going to be the bigger woman, aren't I? Let bygones be bygones. I'll forgive you, as long as you stay with me, Marianne. That's why you came down here, right? To find me?
That was the plan. I came down here looking for her, for closure. But this isn't closure. This is something else entirely. I didn't think I would be forced to make such a choice. Do I leave or do I stay? Well, that's completely fucking obvious what's happening here. I need to move on. Closure. That's all I came here for. Whatever this is, it might as well be just a devil's trick. And I might as well make some use of it, right? I say nothing at first for fear of angering whatever phantom this is. I take Lorraine's hand and bring it to my lips, pressing a kiss under her knuckle. She takes it as some sort of invitation to pull me along, to step back into the mirror until only her arm is extended again.
I should have been more honest back then, both to you and myself. I know it's too late. I'm sorry. But
the thought of being with a dead girl did not agree with me, not one bit.
I can't stay with you.
So what? You're going to leave me for some old trophy wife? That's it, isn't it? You're going to leave poor Amy Lorraine and go after the next rich, pretty blonde that you see.
This is a mistake.
All these years, guilt has been my driving force. I felt so guilty for what I did, what I didn't do.
She thinks she can guilt me into being complacent, but she realizes otherwise as I pull my hand away from her. I'm going by the look on her, the look of anger on her face, and anger that runs cold. She did not like the fact that I'm not some puppet on a string. Had she chosen her words carefully, I would have accepted whatever punishment Lorraine chose to give me. Gil had ran my life, and it might have very, very well ended it. Because I deserved it.
But what I did to me. The blood in my hands is mine, not yours.
Whatever the shadow is, my gut's telling me she's not Lorraine. Yet I keep talking as if she is.
I broke your heart, not your neck.
Don't you dare deny it! It
Oh!
was your fault!
Oh, here we go!
Because I loved you more than I dared to admit? Yes, that was my fault. But I never meant to hurt you like that.
Despite my words, no matter how sincere they are, she appears angry, enraged. In fact, it's been a few years since I last saw that face, and even now, the memory of it is still etched deeply into my mind. The hurt, the tears, and the hate spilling from her eyes that day, the moment I rejected her. Rejected myself for who I am. And she definitely will hate what I'm about to do next. To my left, a wine rack. And from there, I take a bottle and pray to all saints I can remember. For all my sins. For every hurt word I've uttered. For what I have driven her to do that day. What I forced her into.
What are you doing?
I do it without thinking twice. Quickly before I can hesitate, I grab the bottle and send it straight towards the mirror. Shards of the bottle and the mirror are sent flying everywhere. Lorraine's scream echoes in the cellar. Bitter. Searing. Like every wounding accusation she hurled at me. They've never left me. I doubt they ever will. But with this, I can move away from her, live my life as I should, free from the burden. Her burden. Because Lorraine I know, the real one, the person I love, will never want me carrying this to my death. As the screaming dies down, I can't help but mutter weakly.
It's done. It's done. Oh, Lorraine. Forgive me, Lorraine.
I take some time to compose myself, breathing in and out, stepping down on the tremors still racking my hands, straightening out my jacket and fixing my hair. All a weak attempt at returning myself to someone resembling my normal self. This would probably be easier to do so with a mirror, but likely I won't be able to stand looking at one for a long time.
Well now, I should probably go back up there. Party to attend, rich socialites to do business with, and food to eat.
Something's gonna happen.
Mrs. Wright will be happy if I make some time for it anyway.
Yet, one last time, to shattering glass beneath my feet.
I'm sorry, Lorraine. May you see God's light on the path.
Turning around to leave for good this time, an uneasy smile on my face falls as I see Lorraine whole and well.
Come on, Mac. You really didn't think it would be that easy, did you? You get bonus points for trying. But you should know innate charisma is not enough to turn undead.
She advances towards me, backs me against the wall. I can't even reach for another wine bottle without putting myself within her reach. Despite my earlier bravado, I didn't think she'll be able to exist at all without the mirror. Can you blame me though? It's not like I'm an expert at supernatural.
That's not... You shouldn't be...
What? After the mirror? Did you think just moving on will erase what you did to me? You're nothing but a murderer, Marianne. A murderer!
Stay back. You're not real. Leave me alone. Stop. I'm trying to move on with my life, so why won't you let me? Please. Just get out of my head and leave me be.
Try to find an exit when there's a click. The next thing I know, I'm falling back into darkness. What? I fall on my back and the door slams shut behind me. In a daze, I look around warily and find myself in another room entirely. On the other side of the wall, some sort of secret passage perhaps, an underground tunnel that has me wary and frightening. It also proves that the oddities in the mansion floor's plans are a lot more than just the discrepancies. I expect Lorraine to jump out in front of me from the darkness at any time. My breeze blowing through the tunnel has me relieved, though, at the idea that there is still a way to escape should that happen. That's a way better than being trapped underground. Only God knows what that was. A funny thought comes to my mind as I start walking towards the exit. Might be. I think about Mr. Wright would be so disappointed if I didn't show up to the party, Mrs. I imagine how furious Mr. Wright would be for breaking one of his wine bottles. Even Johan's reaction comes to mind, though I don't really know with that guy. One thing's for sure is that I would be calling Cam and Haru for a drink as soon as I get out of here. Oh gosh, oh gosh, oh gosh. That noise has me wary. A ghastly thing, a corpse of a woman leans on the wall. Her arms and limbs, almost every inch of her lithe body is peppered with wounds and rotting flesh. It is then that the protrude smell of blood and gore hits me, making it so that I don't even question how I missed it in the first place.
How long has this been here? Oh, that smell. Oh, you're a nasty one, aren't you?
I flinch as the thing twitches. As soon as it opens its eyes and looks at me with a smile, there's nothing on my mind but horror. I break into a run. I try to keep on running, no matter how much my legs and feet scream at me to stop. I keep going, even when I look back I see nothing of her anymore, because I can still hear her. The scampering of my feet, and the words she tries to form with her bloodied mouth, and the painful sound of the bones grinding against each other as she moves closer and closer to me.
How long are these damn tunnels?
There's a split second where I know that thing is right behind me, a strange sensation creeping over the limbs when her persistence looms over me. And then suddenly, whew, I can't even do anything before I'm yanked by my hair and pulled back. Dang, girl got some run in her for being dead. Still, I struggle, up until I'm thrown into the side like some ragdoll. I hit the ground on my side, and the musty smell of old hay that reaches me is the only indication that I'm still alive.
Please don't hurt me.
My body hurts and I keep my eyes shut, afraid of what might happen next.
What's wrong, Marianne? Are you really afraid of little old me?
There's only dread, seeing how she's followed me even here. She looms over me, backs me further in a cell that I was thrown in.
Please. It's so cold. I don't want to be alone, Marianne. Why won't you stay with me? Why would you leave me? Why? What are you?
What is that? Is that a camera? Lorraine turns and shifts into that thing from before. Is that Zachary's camera? Well, that don't make sense. I don't know. And with the same gruesome grin, it takes a step forward towards the cell. Towards me. I barely scramble to my knees when the door of the cell slams shut and it just stands there staring. Shouts for help ring out in the tunnels. But none of them are coming from me, and I'm paralyzed and shocked by what is happening. My throat tightens at being fooled by the image of Lorraine, at the thought of being trapped down here. So then where?
Help me! Help me! Oh, help me! Are you getting all this on camera, Carl? Yeah, but are you guys sure this is a good idea? We're breaking and entering here.
They made the letter! The letter has nothing to do with any of this!
Don't worry, the owners of this place haven't been here in a long time. Look at this thing, though! It has writing in blood like some cheesy 80s horror prop. Wait, I have an idea. Oh man, that's genius!
What kind of butthead would even take this thing seriously? Maybe we can stick this in Rowan's backpack. That's Juarez kid would panic.
Guys? What? Spit it out! Behind you!
They're in the corner of the cell. Woo! A digital camera comes flickering from life, and a video has played on the back screen. It was hard to even considering paying attention to it when my life is on the line. But when the ghost doesn't move and the teenager's mocking shout of help me filled with the cell, I just had to watch. And what I had seen, students, judging by their St. Rhodian uniforms, they were holding...
That letter!
And that thing, the woman, she... Oh! It's her! We had it wrong! happens. Oh my goodness, so much is just coming out right now, and I'm so excited and pumped to see what's going to happen. I hope you guys are enjoying it again just as much as I am. Check out my other content if you want to see some other spooky stuff. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great and wonderful day. Bye!